Welcome back to another episode of It's All Bad. I'm Russian Danny, and I'm here with...
I'm Keith.
This is Mike.
This is Charlie.
What's up, guys? We got a great guest with us tonight. A dude that... Fuck, I forgot my cigarettes. Hold on, I'm going to start over. I want to grab a cig for this.
Oh, my God. This is why we can't, do 90 minutes straight, uncut.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. You did. Listen, I've been 90 minutes uncut for years.
Hey, I got 35 years uncut, as Miss Elliott lets you know. Oh man, we got a great guest. Speaking of uncut, we got a great guest this week. We got a friend of mine and Keith's, Brandon O'Connell, who, man, had some crazy stories. The doctor, what was it? The doctor, the dentist, and what was the last one?
Doctor, the dentist, and the lawyer.
And the lawyer. Fuck, what a fucking, that shit's dark, you know?
Oh,
maybe
yeah.
one of our darkest stories we've had. And we've had motherfuckers talk about people dying and shit, you know? And that's one of the darkest.
It
you know?
is dire.
Yeah. Partying with Alexis Arquette, R.I.P. That was amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Alexis Arquette passed, yeah.
Yeah. Keith, could you imagine being busted with some fool and they're all, hey, let me talk to your hyena, you know? And you put him on the phone and it's fucking Alexis Arquette. Hey, and they don't even know. They're like, hey, what's up with your homegirls, you know?
What about his just getting denied, on the hustles?
Oh, yeah. That's the best. Yeah.
That was actually sad. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Well, when you see the photos he sent us, you know, when you see this post go up, you'll understand why, you know. Fuck. Well, love you, Brandon. I'm sorry when you hear this, but I just gotta say it. Should we get in?
Reno.
Oh, hell yeah. We got Reno back with us this week as a co-host for an hour. Dude, so tight. And yeah, I guess we should just get right into it, right?
Yep.
All right, enjoy.
Brandon O'Connell. Thanks, guys.
See, when I first got sober, I woke up and I did this Skid Row running club at 5 a.m. every morning. So these guys really running was my shit. And it was kind of funny to watch because I know Keith remembers and some other people that saw me come back, but I came back at 300, 280-ish.
I don't remember you being that big.
Dude, yeah, I don't play when it comes to my hair, dude, for real.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's from your dad.
It's that Italian shit, dude. Like that opening scene in Saturday Night Fever where Homeboy's just got the fucking hair dryer and he's just rolling his shit back. And then he goes and sit down to dinner and covers himself with a sheet so he doesn't get any of this fucking gear. I spent an hour fixing my hair and then you hit my hair. You fucking his dad hits him in the hair.
Dude, is John Travolta not even dude, these fucking glasses make my face look fat. Is John Travolta even Italian?
Yeah, John Travolta's Italian. What are you talking about?
Oh, is he? No, I didn't know, honestly.
We were just saying how good the glasses make your face look.
Really?
Right.
Your face ain't never look as good as it does with those glasses on.
Hey, I don't want to hear from you and Charlie and your fucked up hairdo and shit. You guys look like them fucking Riverside dudes on a third court date and shit, all wetting it with water, huh, Reno?
On a third court date.
Yeah. You know, it's all wet with water.
With the feathered sides.
Yeah.
That's literally me. That's me to a T.
Already coming into jail super tweaked out, it's so crazy when you're tweaking. I would always fuck with my hair and get my hair tightened up just because I'm that way. But in the IE, shit, motherfuckers, that's the last thing they're thinking about.
The little fucking comb with the razor fade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, in jail, yeah.
All right, should we get into it? All right, welcome back to What's All Bad. I'm Keith.
What up? I'm Russian Danny. We got our special co-host tonight who's back at it again. Our boy Reno.
What's up, everybody?
And Brandon O'Connell, who we've been trying to get for months.
Right.
Yeah, welcome, Brandon.
How you guys?
Dude, look at how Brandon's living, though. Look at that. Yeah,
man, living large.
Dude, hey, I'm not Reno. I'm not trying to rub it in.
Me.
I'm not trying to rub it in, Reno, but if you follow Brandon on Instagram, there's weeks where this motherfucker gets 3 haircuts. I'm not bullshitting you. In a week.
He's living the dream. He's living the dream, man.
He's got like Rottweiler hair too. She'll shave the shit, it grows right back.
Yeah.
You got that good hair, Brandon?
I got that good hair. Like, I mean, I don't know if you see, there's just like, that's the first gray that I got going at 36, those 3 hairs. You know what I mean? This hair is not going anywhere. I actually, if you guys do follow me, I went and got Botox, and the lady said I have a beautiful forehead. It's one of the best she's ever seen. And to be coupled with that hair, I'm very blessed. That's what she said. Dr.
I thought you were gonna say she refused to inject it with Botox. She was like, "That's a perfect forehead. I refuse to inject it with Botox."
No, he's got it. It's a stunt forehead.
It had a couple dents. It had a couple dents.
You do for real have that Colin Farrell hair, though, dude. I'm jealous. That shit makes me jealous for real. I got that 47-year-old man. I can't do fades anymore, man. It just doesn't look right.
No, dude, I was looking at you tonight. I was looking at you at the fucking meeting, and I was like, that motherfucker Reno got a good head of hair. His shit looks clean.
I needed to hear that, Danny. I needed to hear
Reno.
Reno tries to wish that evil on me. He's like, "Oh, that's just running out the back door." I'm like, "Fuck you," says the bald guy. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying.
You got the overall good look, Reno. Like, you walk into a room and you're like, damn, this guy's pretty fucking in shape. He's good looking. He's got the proper salt and pepper, and you fucking command the room. And I'll give you that. Like,
Brandon.
Like he does. He alphas a room. I remember when I first got sober and I came over to help them do some things.
Oh, at the showroom. Sasha had you guys over to help just do some lifting and some moving and shit. Yeah.
Right. And like, you know, normally in a room, like with most people, I'll alpha the room. But like when you walk in, I definitely kind of like I'm up here with other people, I'll go down here and maybe a little.
Hey.
Like I even go away a little. So.
Hey, you're doing too much, man. All I'm saying is, hey.
And I appreciate that. That means a lot, brother. And I definitely, you got some really good energy yourself. And I'm happy to be on here with you because I've always had a good time chopping it up with you when you've come to the showroom with Sasha, or I've seen you in meetings and we've had a chance to chop it up. I always got a real good feeling from you too. So I'm happy to be on here to chop it up a little bit tonight, brother.
I'm just saying, my kid just came in here and she goes, "Hey, is that Count Chocula? Is that Count Chocula on the bottom left and shit?" She thought Reno was that dude from the fucking cereal box and shit. One, dude. All right. Hey, Brandon, tell us where you grew up.
So I was born in Pasadena, California, and then I did Burbank for a while. So I definitely grew up on the mean streets of LA, Pasadena, Burbank, nice. And then what happened was too, is we ended up moving here. So when I was in like junior high, I moved out here to Encinitas, and I went to like junior high, high school, and then I attempted like 1 year at Miracosta College over here. I started, partying at that time, so I don't remember. I know I had like a human sexuality class and psychology 101, and I think I went to those maybe a couple times. I don't know. I didn't really finish that whole. I wasn't into that whole. I went to a continuation school out here, and I kind of started like being around like the music people, and my really, really good friends had a band called American Tragedy, and they did a split with this other band called As Lay Dying, and I just really fucking hated the singers, and I would talk them into quitting American Tragedy because I wanted to be in that band so bad. And I think after like 6 years of like trying to be the guy in the band, they finally let me sing in it this one tour. And I was just like, dude, I'm done with this school shit. Because they took me on tour. I was like 16 or 17, and I sang on one of the tours in the band. So we went on tour with As I Lay Dying when they did a split, and I convinced them to kick Tim Seiler out of the band. And he'll probably watch this, but I mean, I was like, definitely, like this guy left, and I'm like, dude, you cannot turn down this tour. Like, let's go on it. I got you guys. Like, they're like, Tim can't do it. I'm like, just load it. Let's get in the van. Let's go do the tour. It's with As I Lay Dying. They're huge. Like, we don't have a singer. I'm like, we're gonna go. Let's do this. I have gas money. Like, I'm like kind of pushy, persuasive. So I like convinced them. And I know everyone was like, what the fuck did we just? And we kicked our singer out again. Like, and this guy, I was like a fucking mess. You know what I mean? I think we played like 3 shows, and I like got dope sick, and I wanted to come back because I couldn't get dope when we were like out on the tour. So that was like my big music run, and I kept trying to like start stuff like it again. I recorded a bunch of like music with stuff, and nothing really ever came of it. And that was kind of like what I did with high school era.
I didn't know you ever lived down there in Encinitas. That's wild.
Yeah, I was like, I think I moved back to L. So what happened is I was like, I had this amazing job at a Cold Stone where I like ran the shit. So I hired every one of the guys that sold me drugs, and we worked at this Cold Stone. And me and this kid, Casey Stone, we managed it. And then I had another job working.
Hey, Casey Stone, no relation to the Cold Stone.
Right. And then I had another job working at.
Were you guys all like smacked back? And then when they put a tip in the jar and you had to sing for the tip? Were you guys all like,
so we had our friend Scott Allward that was our heroin connect, and he would only work the day shifts, and he would like, his house was a block away, and he would like slang out of it. Then we had Shasta, rest in peace, who was the biggest fucking speed freak you've ever fucking met in your life. And she was she was one of the ones that says, hey, meet me here. And like 6 hours later, she shows up after you said, she was the one like that. So we hired her because when we wanted speed, we couldn't get her, and we wanted it at night. So we said, you work for us, we'll pay you at the Cold Stone. You could slang out of the Cold Stone, but at our night shifts, we have someone here selling speed, and that is you, Shasta. And she was just like, she's like one of those people too who fucking will smoke speed in front of you an hour before they give you a sack. You know what I mean? She's like, so what did you wanted a gram, right? All right.
Oh, fuck that, man. I'll rip that pipe right out of her fucking
That was me. That was literally me.
Hey, and it was like me and Casey were the manager, and since she's the drug dealer, she'd be like, did you guys make the sweet cream ice cream? You should probably go do that. You should get on. Did you guys refill all the mix-ins for today? Like,
no
and it's
way.
like, dude, we're like, yeah. So it was like pure insanity. And I lived in a house in Cardiff, like a sick house. And we had the beach view, and like shit was like pretty good, even though I was like a raging fucking speed freak heroin addict at the time. And one of our friends, Noah, he like moves to LA, and he's like, hey, I'm moving to Koreatown, or I moved to Koreatown. You got to come check this pad I got out. It's sick. He's like, and you're not going to believe this place where you can get drugs. And I said, dude, I'll be there this weekend. So I go to his house, and he fucking shows me Skid Row. And I like, I've been in San Diego, and San Diego is all those dealers that make you, they're all white kids or Shasta. They make you wait 4 hours. I hated that shit. I was like, I pretty much wanted to give up using because I've been spending like the majority of my time in parking lots waiting for people and just like calling in late to work. And like, he was like, dude, come to Koreatown, like scope this shit. And he's like, look this is Skid Row. If you just walk down the street, people dispense heroin like gumball machines. They just blow like balloons into their hand, and you can buy it right there. And and do it. You could sit down and slam it. I was like, no fucking way. Like, let's check this out. And it was true. And I said, all right, I have like $3,000 for my job. I'm not going back home. Like, this is the life, you know? And I like walked away from like living this amazing life as a fucked up high stoner and became like, that was like the beginning of like my Skid Row fucking love affair, was like going down there and just like throwing away a life, living a block from the beach, to like thinking Skid Row is like the most awesome place you could ever imagine going in your life. Like I like still to this day, I had this, like, I've always had this crazy love affair with like Skid Row.
What's the craziest thing you've ever seen on Skid Row?
So like, no, so this, it was very crazy at the time. Like now, there's so much shit. Like, so, I live down there. I've lived under bridges down there, so I've seen a lot. But right then at that time when we went down there, I've rarely had seen fight like anything crazy, because I lived in San Diego. I think I was the worst with fighting, because like I lived in Glendale for a little while, and people would just pop off fights in Glendale. Like Armenian guys would just boom fight someone for disrespecting them, or the Armenians would disrespect the Mexicans, and you see it a lot. When you move into San Diego, very rarely like people would pick on me and I'd be the first, like, let's fight. So we were in Skid Row and I hadn't taken a hit of crack yet, so I really did not understand what was happening. And it's still like this, it just imprinted in my brain, is like, we're sitting there and someone fucking has these two guys, they have a bottle of Cisco and they're drinking it, and they were sharing a pipe. And then the guy hits the last hit, and then the guy's like, dude, hey, pass it back to me. And the other guy, like, he pushes it and he like turns around and he just takes the push, the last hit, when it was supposed to go back to the other guy. And the guy fucking smashes the Cisco bottle and puts it into his neck. And me and Noah have never seen anything like this shit. Like, this came out, like the bottle exited out the neck and the fucking blood like poured out. And we were like, what the fuck? Like, we just jumped up and ran. Like, I don't know if that guy survived that or died. Like, and I had just never seen anything like that. So that one was like even my friend Noah, I feel like he, after that day, wouldn't walk down the street. So he would stand he'd be that guy on the corner of Skid Row that's like, he's like looking down to make sure that the person comes back with his shit. And like, I would be the guy to like always, that was like my hustle down there too, is I would walk down that fucking block, 7th and San Julian. You know, I'd walk right into fucking tents, you know, like when I finally, like when the fucking gods of drugs blessed me with a hit of crack. And then again, I felt like I arrived, you know, like then it'd be like, you'd send me down the block and then with the money, and then I'd disappear into a tent and then scurry out the back, and you'd never see me again. So the people would all be looking down like, fuck, did this? No, he didn't rip us off because he has to come back here. So they're like looking down like, he's not ripping us off because he's got to come. And sure enough, I'll come back and sleep there too. You know what I mean? And like,
you were sleeping in the tents downtown?
No, with the people.
So we all moved into an apartment, and there was like me and Noah, like I'm half Mexican, but like very perceived as like very white kid, you know, he's very, very pasty white kid. So like, you know, and then we had our other friends from San Diego that would kind of come over, and they have moved to LA, and we all just moved to LA and started doing heroin. I mean, one of the main kids that first was down there is now, he just went to a place that Shireen sent him to, and now he's my sponsee, which is like the craziest full circle, weirdest thing. I mean, it's like, I just never, it's like, it's so crazy weird, you know?
Yeah.
But that was my Skid Row shit just got like, even, like you guys know Catlow. So like,
yeah,
right before me and Catlow had gotten sober, like I was Catlow's like drug dealer, you know, that's how me and him know. I owned this vape shop, and I sold drugs out of it. So the last interaction that we had, I think like I had like $30 left, and I'd kind of been like removed from it. And I think I want to say like at the time I was like in and out of mental hospitals because I kept getting 5150'd. So I like looked healthier, and it's like now if I was to walk down Skid Row and hand someone money, they'd be like, oh, this is some like white kid with some tattoos and he's from Echo Park and like, let's fucking rob him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the last time the same. So I gave this guy our money. He gives me 2 balloons with nothing in it. And it was the last of my money, and I lost my shit. And I'm just like trying to fight him, you know? And Catlow's just like, dude, what the fuck is going? Like, I don't think he'd ever been in the heart of down there. And he just like followed me in, you know, and it was just fucking intense. You know what I mean? It's like people just, I can't remember. I mean, these guys just like punch me or like, you know, like I had no fight in me this time. Just like get away. And I'm like, oh shit, I forgot you guys just knock people out, you know, like I hadn't been down there like that in a long time. So it was crazy. Like right before I got sober.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
people like, some people are really drawn to the fucking whole Skid Row vibe. I just never got it. Like the Valley was flooded with drugs, Hollywood too. And like, you know, you could just get it popping, but you go down there and you got to like, you know, fucking strip and scrap through all that to get like $8 worth of heroin in a fucking balloon for 20 and follow some other motherfucker around to introduce you to some other motherfucker. And if you're halfway healthy, they think you're a cop. And it was just such a mind fuck. But some people like kind of get off on the party, the whole scene down there. Am I right?
Like Chris Collins. Yeah, that motherfucker.
Yeah,
He
right.
loves it, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
My thing was like this: is it's like I'm from Burbank, and I'm a North Hollywood guy, so I knew Jimmy, I knew Manny, I knew all those, you know, those fucking guys that ended up making the newspaper. Like those are my dealers. I knew El Borrego, like the guy before them. I knew Edward, like the main guy. So like there, you know, if you're in the Valley, those, you know, it was Edward, then the guy El Borrego, and then Manny, and then Jimmy. And like those were my guys. But I just remember is like you call them and it's 1 hour wait. Like no matter what, you know what I mean? And like downtown is I could walk down it and like I'll get the shit now and I'll get the hit of crack now and I'll, you know, throw the crack into some fucking Kool-Aid mango flavor and make the shot and now, you know what I mean? Like I hated that weight of like, dude, like we'll be there in an hour.
They always assign you a corner, and no matter what you tell them, they just reaffirm like what corner is yours. You're like, hey man, I'm actually in the West Valley right now at Reseda and the Orange Line. I can't get to you know, Vineland and fucking Valley Heart right now. Can you make it over here? I'll give you an extra 20. And then they just go Fulton and Valley Heart. They just repeat like what.
Yeah,
I finally got to the point. One of my biggest accomplishments was I had Jimmy and Manny delivering to me wherever I was at because I would bring them that much money, you know, because I was getting pieces at that point. And I would always turn them against each other because, you know, they would sell together and then they split, you know, they're cousins and they split. And I would call them and I'd be like, yo, Jimmy, I need a piece, you know, I got fucking 700, and he'd be like, I do it for 900, you know. And I call Manny and I'd be like, hey, Manny, I just talked to Jimmy. He said he'd do it for 800. He'd be like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. I'll do it for 750, you know. And then I call Jimmy and be like, hey, man, he's on his way. He's gonna do it for 750. Be like, fuck that, you know. Where they're losing money, but they just don't want the other motherfucker to get it, you know. And they would bring it to Hollywood to me, which like is crazy. It's still to this day.
Those valley slangers that run around delivering like that, they do not like coming to Hollywood.
Oh hell no.
Really?
They would come because I had a pad and I always came correct with money. And then like, you know, but even then it's like, I'm like, hey, I want to get this much. I got the, you know, and they'd be like, all right, give us, you know, and that weight, dude, the weight.
Well, because they know you're going to call them again tomorrow. It's not like speed dealers where like, if they front you an 8-ball, you're going to like go and spin off the face of the earth until you absolutely need them again to make it right. If you got a solid heroin connect, they front you because you're gonna fucking call them the next morning. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
yeah.
Or at least that was my experience. But back to like that whole, Valley delivery guys versus downtown. They just hooked you up so much fatter than downtown. I get the right now shit. No one likes to wait.
Right.
But, when you get like, I don't know. I just that downtown get down. I worked downtown for years and years throughout like a long-term period of sobriety I had. And when I finally started going out and I was working out of those showrooms and I'd be sick or, you know what I mean? I went down there to cop a couple times. It was just such a fucking scene, man. Super gnarly.
That's like the shit that I think that's like so fucking weird is like, I'm telling you, I lived in Cardiff, like blocks from the beach.
It's
My
amazing,
connects,
man.
I worked at a pizza place and I worked at a Cold Stone simultaneously, like doing my shuck and drive hustle. Like, you know what I mean? And I had it set, like the Cold Stone people are selling drugs and they work there with me and I'm the manager. The guy, Alex, who fucking sold me my majority of my good heroin was obsessed with the pizza place that I worked at. And when I would get there, he'd say, please, please, please get me one of the barbecue chicken pizzas large. I'll come with the dope to pay for it. And I would like, you know what I mean? So it's a really and most anyone who knows me, and if you've been, especially in the men's stags that I'm in, it's like I'm a sick fuck. You know what I mean? I like some sick shit. I like some dark shit, and I don't want the light shit at all. Like, I don't want to fucking live at the beach. I want to be on Skid Row. I want to see what's going on. I want to be smoking crack while someone's taking out their fucking genitals and rubbing themselves, wondering if I'm going to, you know what I mean? Like, that's me, dude. It's like, I fucking thrived for it. I knew every time that I walked in a fucking tent and someone's like, do you want a free hit of crack? That they're fucking taking their pants off immediately. And I still walked in the tent. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, it's fucking mind blowing to like, you know what I mean? I remember when I was a little kid, I lived in Burbank and I'd have to fucking ride my bike over the Barham Pass. And when I was a little kid, and this is before I moved here, over by Shakey's on Sunset, Shakey's, right there where the 99-cent store was, there would be prostitutes standing out there when I was really, really small. And I wanted to go fucking hang out there. And I would leave my house and fucking ride my bike over the Barham Pass and just so I could like see what they're doing. And like, I didn't know, like, you know,
it was adventure time.
I just saw that like the hustle and bustle was going on there and some shit was moving and cars were pulling up and, you know, people were jumping in and it's like, what person goes to just watch people see some prostitutes getting in cars? You know what I mean? It's like, and I think the more that like when I got loaded too, is like that I had to have that fucking sick, dark, twisted fucking chaos going on around me to like also give me some like amusement to the getting loaded. Cause I did do the whole sit in my friend Cody's house where he lived with his mother and we didn't really leave and the fucking connect would come and bring it into the door and like he would play fucking video games all day and I would just like sit in the room, you know? And like I could get loaded for months on end without getting sick that way. But then I'm like, this sucks. Like, I'm just gonna go downtown. Like I would go downtown, like boost, you know, like boosting was a huge thing that like I didn't really have to do. And I would just boost the fuck out of I had to add that like element of fucking psychotic fucking insanity, you know, at all times. Like, cause I'm like a sensory overload guy too. Like even like now being sober, like I'm attracted to like doing it all. Like I want to do a little of everything and sprinkle a little piece here. And I think like when I got loaded too, that's like, I was like pre-writing the fucking scripts of all these things that I'm going to make now. You know what I mean? I don't know what, like when I was getting loaded, I'm like, I got to store these memories. Like I got to store this. Like I just like some sick fucking shit. Like would always, you know what I mean? It's like always was around. I have a really, really good story. And I know that fucking Danny's going to know these people.
And real quick before we do that, could you guys just explain who Manny and Manny's Delivery Services for anyone who's not from LA who might not know?
I think we had Joey Mann talk about them before. We'll pull up the thing. They were basically these dudes, and we might have to bleep their names out too, because I don't want to, I don't want that shit to come back to me. But they were these Pisces.
You want me to explain it?
Yeah, hell yeah, you could explain it. Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah. So then, like, Manny and Jimmy was like the fucking, and that's not their real names. Who knows what the fuck their real names are? I guarantee it's not, but it could be. Maybe they're that ballsy. They were pretty ballsy. Like, I've bought dope for Manny, and he's riding a fucking horse in Sunland. So like, He must have been near his house or something.
That's the story that we heard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Manny and someone else purchased from him on the horse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, Manny and Jimmy pretty much held down, because I can't remember what he was. So El Borrego was before him. Before them was, I can't remember. But so this phone got passed on from a dealer, I forget his name, to El Borrego, which means the sheep, to Manny and Jimmy. And then people have gotten the phone also. So other people have been Manny and Jimmy, but essentially I think that it was a phone. And then they had a break between them, and they split up, to which like Russian Danny talking about, where you could like finagle one of them and just say, hey, I'm about to pick up from your brother. Never mind, I'm good. No, motherfucker, like, I'm coming right now. Like, like, so they were the Valley drug dealers. I don't really think there was any other dope you were getting in the Valley if it wasn't theirs. And they had like a 5 to 8 year long run of just like killing the game.
Yeah. And they were kind of like, they weren't even the guy, because it was a number, but they were like the dispatch guy, I mean, it was years that I got dope from them that I never fucking, and they would be like, all right. And they would send, their whole thing is they would get these Pisces, like these dudes, that are like, so for the listeners that don't, so when you get busted, there's two types, there's two types of the Mexicans basically go into two classes, they're either like, or three classes, right? There's the Sureños, the Norteños, and the Paisas. And like, there's which is like the South Siders, there's the Norteños, which is the North Siders, and the Paisas are like the fools that don't speak much English. They're just kind of like, like
Mexican nationals.
Yeah, they're the Mexican nationals. And so you would call them, they'd answer, they go, what do you want, where you at? Where, you tell them where you're at, and they'd be like, okay, give me this much time. And they would be like, I'll call you, and they would send a dude over there that was like, a Paisa that was like some dude that was probably here illegally, and they would put him on, and you could, most of the time you could trade them whatever you had for like 2% of the value of the item you had, like whether it was some cologne or like a polo windbreaker or whatever, like no matter what the value of it was, you're probably going to get a 40 at the best case scenario for it,
right.
Which
a half for everything.
Great. Yeah. And they would send these dudes, and then like those dudes would just disappear, and then it would be another dude, and then that dude would disappear, and it would be another dude. But they kind of held down the whole, like they held down the 818 for as long as, if you were a junkie from this year to this year, and you didn't fucking, like, if you didn't know about them and what they were doing, you ain't like you're tripping, like you're a
you're just like someone was fucking middlemaning the fuck out of you.
Yeah,
for real. Now they it's basically like a more general way to say it is that, because I'm not, I can't even remember what my guy's name was. There was two of them, but you call them, and there would always be relatively regularly there'd be a different guy, and they would always be driving the squarest ass fucking cars too, like PT Cruisers, and like Camrys and shit, and like
that PT Cruiser, fucking, they had that for a minute. That PT Cruiser, I think, got transferred too in the hierarchy of the dope dealers.
Yeah, man, and I mean, dude would pull up and he would have a bag of balloons in his fucking lap, dude, like
that was
a bag of
crazy.
fucking balloons, and I mean. And they were just doing it all fucking day, man, just whipping it around and dropping off sacks and doing the damn thing. And they had that whole hustle on lock. Like you said, I mean, if you were a real junkie in the Valley during that time period, you had a phone number, and those were your people.
If you were buying fucking Coke from them, though, you're blowing it. That Coke was like never that good. And that's why I feel like I always, even if I was getting their shit, that I needed to go get the crack in the Mango Kool-Aid bring it back, and then I'm really getting the proper mix. You know what I mean? Mango Kool-Aid was an essential too.
What's with the mango Kool-Aid, Brandon?
That just, you know what I mean? I'm a connoisseur, dude. It's like
So
when it hits the back of your throat, the mango Kool-Aid kind of gets, you have to use citric acid to break it down, and that's the main component of Kool-Aid.
Oh, you
and the
firing
mango
it?
just
yeah.
Oh, okay.
So the
you
mango Kool-Aid really skyrocketed me to third dimension once I threw it into the.
Hell yeah.
So wait, what's the
mix.
good story you were going to tell us?
Okay, so this is another. I'm sure because you guys been doing this for a long time, and like I watched Seth's episode, and I know when you guys first started, but I've been busy, so I haven't like caught up on all the episodes. I feel like Danny might have mentioned this, but there was the doctor. Also, if you use dope, there was the doctor, the dentist, the lawyer, and these guys would have a prostitute ring of like every junkie knew them. You know about these guys, Danny? One was in Los Feliz. He was on the top floor, and he was the doctor. And then the other one was the lawyer, and this guy was like the worst human being from like what I've heard, and my experiences weren't as bad as most people's with this guy, but he lived, I guess, under Elton John, and he's like in Hollywood. And if I remember correctly, like the street cuts up, and I want to say it's like somewhere near like Saddle Ranch. Does this ring a bell to you at all, Rush?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, and then so the lawyer was the worst, and then there was the dentist. Now the dentist that I would have. The dentist did not like me. So what would happen with the dentist is he would send these guys out to go. The guys would go find junkies and they'd bring them back to the dentist. So I would get the dentist really good. For some reason, the dentist did not think I was good looking at all. Maybe I smelled so bad he didn't, because usually he showers people up. So the kid, even the last time that the kid found me, he's like, hey, I'm going to take you to this dentist. No matter what, like he's going to give you some money, but we're going to do some crazy stuff and blah, blah, blah. But you're going to get a lot of money. So the dentist, like I said, he didn't like me. So the last time too, he kind of was like, all right, like you got like, take your guys' clothes off. No matter what, I'm going to shoot you $40. Let me just check it out. But he never picked me. He always immediately. So I don't know if it's because like the small wiener, or maybe it wasn't big enough. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what it was, but like I never did anything crazy with this dentist. And then so I would like strip down, and then he'd be like, no, I'm good on that guy. No, we're not doing this one. And peel off 40. And I got the dentist for like $40 like 3 or 4 times, and I never was the chosen one, dude. Like most of the times I wasn't either. So like then my friend Ryan Chandler, who passed away, he would go to the lawyer. And I know other people too who'd go to the lawyer. The lawyer would paddle the fuck out of his ass, right? And the thing that this lawyer got off on, and I've heard just really, really bad stories. This guy should probably go to prison. I'm sure with the Me Too movement, maybe this guy ended up getting caught or something. But like one time, the same thing happened. So he had brought me to present me to the lawyer, and the same thing, like the lawyer took one look at me and he's like, I'm good on this guy, but while you're here, he's like, why don't you have a seat right here? I'm gonna fucking beat this guy's ass with this paddle bloody, and if you watch, I'll pay you. So you just sit there and watch what I do, and I'll beat this guy's ass. He had a paddle, and oh yeah, and he would say he was crazy as fuck. So he would do all this coke, right? And then he would go and do this, and he would go, 1 grandfather, 2 grandfather, 3 grandfather, and like whoop this kid's ass, dude. Yeah, till it was like bleeding. And then he like tossed his salad, and it was like the worst thing. It was like one of the worst experiences like I watched and like gotten paid for, and like my friend did it regularly. It was like one, you know what I mean? Like it was just like, hey, I gotta go see this lawyer. Like you want to ride with me? And it was like, I mean, me and my other friend Jordan had watched, and I think my other friend Cody heard about it and just never went. And it was like one of those things where I'm like, this is so fucked. This guy has so much money. He like knows the predicament that we're in. And he's like, I know that this is just the worst every fucking time. I don't know if you ever encountered this guy, Danny, or know people that went to the lawyer, but
I do, yeah.
from what I heard. So like I said, this
he
thing that I encountered was
he wasn't on Cahuenga, was he? He wasn't on like Cahuenga right before the Hollywood Bowl. He was by Saddle Ranch. Like when you went down Sunset and then you went up.
Yep.
I picked a homie up there, who Reno also knows, who Reno was in treatment with. I think you might know who who I might be alluding to.
I'm trying to think. I don't know.
Our boy Chop.
Oh damn!
I picked him up there. But it's weird because I would hear about, I heard about. I even had a dude who lived. I don't remember his name or whatever. I don't remember what he did. I think he was I think he might have been like it's always like I think he was like a producer. Maybe he might have been like some like music dude, but he lived on Cahuenga right when you were like, if you're going into the Cahuenga Pass and you're going like you're going up from Hollywood, like towards Barham, right before you hit it, he's got a loft. And I know he's still there because it's like, there's always some weird, he got that like, he was the first motherfucker on you that had those lights where like you press a button, the Philips Hue, and like the whole room changes colors. And I was like, damn, this fool's got some pimp shit going on, and he would bring there, and I knew this kid, Sean Spencer, who would like, his whole hustle was like, he would bring kids that were like just getting strung out or whatever. He'd bring them there and like would turn them out, basically like middleman pimp like kids to them. Yeah.
That's what happens when the guy's over, like doing whatever he does with you. Then he's like, all right, now your job is to go get more. You know what I mean? Like you got to feed the fucking, put the lotion on its skin. Cause there's this other one too that was on Los Feliz. And this was fucking weird. So like this guy, do you remember where Maria Bermudez lived?
No.
Anyone? I know you know her, Keith. Remember over in Los Feliz?
I think, I can't remember. I
think Dougie Mitch dated her for a while. But so her house was catty corner the other guy, the last one I know of. And this guy was like the nicer of them, but he had like a little, like you go over to his place and he has like guys like laying it out, like eating fucking grapes. And they're like in their underwear, and like some are like legit just wearing like a toga. And like, I mean, it's just like the vibe was alluring from the rest of the ones. You know what I mean? Like the one guy's paddling this guy till he's bloody, and the dentist, like he walks in there and he's disgusting, and you're like, oh my God, I'm about to let this guy do something to me. And but this was like these guys are eating some food and they're nice and they're showered already and they smell, and he like lets you stay a while. You know what I mean? And the same thing though, and this it really used to bug me that like I was like, why do they not like me? Like they're literally taking anyone from the street and like none of the guys would ever pick me. Like I was so prepared to like make my life that I was like, this seems like a very easy way and a great backup. Not the paddling thing, but like whatever the guy's gonna do. You know what I mean? Like I was like, this seems like the way to go. Like this seems the easier, softer way. I'm like getting sick of like running out of stores with 5 razors and like then taking them downtown and like switching it for $20 and like I just wasn't that guy to them. You know, like it was really weird because also too, like the guys would like, they didn't tell you what was going on. They're like, hey, just come with us and you can make $40 regardless. You just got to come meet this guy. Like, and yeah, it was just super weird to me that, you know, I was never the chosen one. Like my friend Ryan was very loved by all of them. And he had like, I mean, he had the like prison tattoos eventually. He like looked the part of like the straight. I mean, he was pretty like he did this every day, all day. But he was straight by like birth, not by addiction, I guess. But I guess by addiction, he was like a very well versed, like whatever, like I guess he was good at everything he did to the guys, and he was in high demand, and he was my friend. So like, I'd always just like roll with him, and like, no one ever chose me to be that guy, and I don't know if it made the road a lot harder. When I heard that people were doing this, I was actually like, this sounds like something that would be up my alley. And no one ever picked me to be the boy.
Not
Nobody
one time.
even, I mean, here's the fucked up part is like, I knew same thing, it's like, I knew dudes were like, we had that dude, like when Gilbert came on, he talked about that Uber driver, that like slipped the hand up his fucking hospital gown and whatever. And same thing, like I know he comes to a place where like whatever, where I do like some volunteer thing, and I'll see this motherfucker pull up with different young boys to this day, and he's driving them, and he's not an IV drug user, but he brings them there and he gets them some needles and he makes sure they're all taken care of, and he takes a little Narcan for him just in case, because and this motherfucker never once put a fucking move on me. He invited me to his like weird like unit, like where like his storage unit that was his quote unquote house, and we went there to smoke meth, and he was like,
Paul,
what up, huh? No,
Paul?
Robert, he's a black dude. He drove Uber, and like he drove like Uber when it was still, before it was all like, went back when it was like baller to like have an Uber account, and it was all black cars and shit. But he's like a gnarly tweaker, and he would come stay with me. But like him, that dude, the producer fool, like whatever, same thing. Like I would come to his house, and right off the bat, my homie's coming there to like, I think he would like let the dude blow him, or so he said. I never watched it, but like he would be like, "Oh, I let this dude blow me, and he gives me $100." He probably was like vice versa, and he only got 50, but he made it. Right. It's like you got to make it sound a little cooler, But
dude, I mean,
but I would always like, go, and I'd wait there, and he'd be like, and there he'd have like really cool pookie bongs and shit, and so I'd just kick it, and like while they're doing their thing, I would just be loading my pockets with stuff at this guy's pad. I took a Rolex from there. I took a laptop. I took an iPad, like when iPads were still like fresh, But this motherfucker never mentioned $10,000. Oh yeah. And he never mentioned a word. Like I would be like, fuck, I can't be coming back there. And he'd call me and be like, hey, do you have any more friends you want to bring over here? And I'd be like, hell yeah. Because not only am I gonna get, smoked out, and then my homie that just got a little money is gonna hit me up for a bag. I'm gonna rob this motherfucker too, And like he had enough where like maybe he had renter's insurance or something. Who knows? Like, but he wasn't tripping.
Oh, don't worry about it, honey. I got AAA. Don't worry about it. Yeah. No, what's crazy though? Like when I first came up here, because I started working up in LA like a long time ago, but I was living in Orange County and commuting. But when I finally like cashed in my 7 years of sobriety and started getting loaded and coming up to LA and getting loaded in like 2008, in the town where I grew up, or even in Orange County too, where it was a little bit more acceptable if you were like a high class hoe, but like hoeing wasn't fucking cool. You know what I mean? Like if like, even in like the IE where I grew up, if like a chick was like dating a connect, and you clearly knew it was for the bag, people would talk all kinds of shit. But like you come up here to LA and the hoeing is like a legit craft that is totally acceptable to get down with. And I always was like, that's cool, you know what I mean? And I became like homies with like the whole Heidi Fleiss crew, and like used to hear all their crazy stories about the Charlie Sheens and this producer and what he's into and all this kooky shit that goes on. And of course in that scene you start seeing all of it and everything that you guys just described. But like, it's LA, it's Hollywood, shit gets crazy. But yeah, that was almost my exact get down too, Danny, though. I'd be like, hey, cool, all right, man, and start putting shit in my pockets.
Yeah, like, oh, hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Just fucking wilding out, man, and dude, it's a trip. I mean, I don't know if it's still like that now. It doesn't seem like it with everybody living in tents on the streets, but back in the day, it seemed like everybody was just trapping and running around from spot to spot. And it might be like 10 a.m., you might be in a fucking motel and like, Van Nuys or Hollywood and like trying to figure out what your next move was. But that night you could be in a house in the hills, fucking on the balcony, just maxing, partying. You know what I mean?
Right.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like never a dull moment. You know what I mean? It was just like never a dull moment. And like, you might have been on speed that morning, and of course you got to get your heroin to stay well. But then that night you're like shooting ketamine under a blue light, fucking all kind of shit popping off like a big cuddle puddle. Like, you know, I definitely had some fucking fun, man. I mean, I would never want to go back to it because I have the most incredible life anyone could ever ask for. But I definitely had some fucking fun and some good ass memories.
Right, for
Oh,
sure.
Yeah.
I remember too, like one night, Howie Pyro freaking invited me over to this thing, and Alexis Arquette, this is the craziest friendship that I ended up making, is Alexis Arquette was like the MC of this thing. And Alexis Arquette like thought that I was good looking. And now, you know what I mean? So Alexis Arquette, we hung out, and I was like getting loaded and staying with this other girl named Mia. And I like went to her house, and then I got Alexis Arquette's number, or I had her number. And then one night she like picked me up from Mia's house just to like go in the car with her. And some craziness was right there. And then the crazy thing is I got arrested this one time, and the only number that I could remember by heart that would take my collect call was Alexis Arquette, right? So I'm like in this fucking dorm. Right. I'm in this dorm on the phone making my calls every time to Alexis Arquette, right? You know how when you're like in jail and you're like talking to someone, people are like, dude, like, does your chick have a friend for me? Like, can I write them? Or like, is that like your chick or like, who, can I talk to them on the phone? And bro, like, and this has happened to me so in jail, this guy's name was Reckless. He was red hair, and he was like, I don't know if I should go in actually on him, because this one a little more than Manny. I don't know. God forbid I never go back there. But I let this guy, I fucking give him the rundown. And I was like, I'm talking to this Alexa. I was like, you ever seen The Wedding Singer? That's who I'm talking to on the phone. And he's like, oh shit, like, let me talk to her. Let me get at her. I'm like, all right. Now this has happened to me like 2 times in jail. Like nothing at that time went down from that. I actually got out of jail, and I like got loaded for a little while, and then I was kicking, and I fucking went and I tried to kick at her house, and she didn't know that was the case. You know how when you just like, they're like, hey, can I come like stay at your house for like a week? And you're like, you don't tell the person, you just go and you like kick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like one of those things. Like I knew that she'd let me stay there, but like if I was kicking, that it was gonna be a fucking. And yeah, it pissed her the fuck off. And I mean, she was just like, get the fuck out of here after like a week. But it was like super crazy. Like Reno is saying, like one night you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. And then the next night you walk into the Standard, which it closed now, right? In Hollywood.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I went in the Standard. They had that party back behind the restaurant, that like private one that I don't know what.
Paul and Andres.
I know they have multiple. Yeah, and I went in there, and then boom, I meet her, and then it turns into this like month-long, like every time that I'm like going away in the night, like mysteriously disappearing, I'm like running off with Alexis Arquette, or like moving into her house, and it's like, and
it's crazy.
She just like, and she does like the whole crazy, or she passed away, rest in peace, but. She did the whole crazy, like she's doing something every night too. That's like some seedy thing, some after hours club, some sex orgy, you know what I mean? So it was crazy to like go into that world. And just to say too, like, cause I know a lot of people interacted with her, like huge fucking heart. You know what I mean? Like very like lovely person. But it like that kind of stuff, like you're saying, you're like last night I was at a Motel 6, and I don't know what I'm going to do now starting tomorrow. And the night that the Motel 6 ends, I get invited to this party. I go to the party, and now it turns into this new month-long run with a new hustle.
And that night you're driving a fucking Mercedes SL, like fucking through the hills, and shit, like with no license.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm telling you, I can't even tell you how many times you're like, fuck, like started my day off. Like I always say to my share, like at the North Hollywood train station, trying to figure out like what direction to go with no cell phone.
Right.
And it's like 108 outside. It's fucking hot. And you just want like a Coke from one of those vendors. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these cold fucking cans of Coke. And they're like 50 cents or something, and you don't have shit. And then like that night you're like loaded in Studio City on the hill looking out over the lights, like fucking titties out, like fucking people passing the pookie, like loud ass music out of control. You're like fucking wild, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Wild, you know.
I remember I think Keith remembers. I don't remember. I don't know if Danny. How long have you been around now?
I first came in when I was 21, but I mean I've been around, like I've been sober 5.5 years.
So like, I mean, I know you remember this time. There was like the parties and I had like a run of, so it was like 9 months, but I was like I mean, I was at this men's stag every Saturday. I went to every single thing. I went to the coffee after. I went to the meeting, and I was like really in it to win it. You know what I mean? And like, I didn't done any of the program though. It was like by osmosis at this time. I didn't even know of the steps or any of that stuff, but like I would hang fucking tough. You know what I mean? With everyone, like the group would get me, and I would go to the meeting, and then they'd bring me to the coffee, and then they'd bring me to the house after, and then I'd go to my sober living at 2 a.m, and then wake up and go to the morning meeting. And I remember too, so like the one time that I got loaded, like, and I thought I had it this time. Like I didn't, you know, like I just didn't do the steps. I missed that whole spiel, I guess, in the whole 9 months I was sober. And I used to work on Melrose at Cosmos Glam Squad. I think it was called Flasher and Speed at the time. There was Flasher and Speed, but the store too, just to give you the background.
Oh, wait a minute. That dude owns fucking Flasher. I know that guy.
Right.
The showroom I worked at, he used to sell them all the lines because it was a layup to get. Yeah, he owned multiple stores on Melrose. Okay, I know you're talking about.
Yeah. Now. New York Speed, Flasher, Speed. I mean, I worked at all of them, and it's like, but the vibe of his store, because he's been doing this so long, and he's like the celebrity stylist that you don't hire because like he'll smoke crack and crash your car. Like he drove, you know what I mean? Like he drove into a thing, like in his car into the store one time. He parked it there. But like he created this vibe of just like straight excellence, dude. Like no matter what, if Cosmo's sober or loaded, this store was the fucking place to be. Like if you are Beyonce or whoever, you don't bring this guy on tour with you, but he's like your first stop when you have a fucking big music video. And like it was just always naked girls in there and him in the back with like dudes that look like The Rock or like Channing Tatum, like doing whatever he's doing in the back with these like young, like beautiful men that it doesn't make sense. And like I would be dressing women all day long. And like I had 9 months sober, and this girl, her name is Kimmy, and she came in and she's like, you know, like drop dead gorgeous, like blonde hair, blue eyes, like big tits, like she's a stripper. And she hung out with this other girl, and I want to say that either, so I think I had just spoke at the Sunday meeting on Melrose. It was either we hung out, and I mean, like I said, 9 months sober, and she's just like, hey, have you ever tried GHB? And I was like, no, I'm sober. And she's like, oh, it's like the best to like have sex on. And I was like, really? And she's like, yeah. She's like, you just need like a cap. Do you guys have orange juice? I'm like, yeah. And I like go get orange juice. And she's like, pours it in. She's like, yeah, just drink 1 cap. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, dude, I just fucking got unsober. And like, we go in the room and like,
Dude,
you know what I mean? Like,
you're describing that shit's so salty. It's so gnarly. Oh,
right. And dude, we like go in the room and like to do something crazy. And like, I had just thrown away that 9 months and I wasn't thinking anything about the 9 months I threw away. I felt the high coming on and I was just like, in my head, I'm like, dude, I need to like shoot coke. And like that thought overtook me and I just leave there and like go shoot coke. And then just that turned into like what just happened all this time before I came back. And it was just like I remember being like, this is the last time. Like when I got sober that time, I'm like, this is the last time that I can ever do this again. And I was like the guy saying like, if I get loaded again, like I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Like it's done. I'm done. Like I don't have another run in me. And I swear, I think I went like, I don't remember. It was like years, like 5 or 6 years from that drink of fucking
goddamn.
Yeah, to like a fucking shot of coke. To as soon as the coke wears off, I'm like just my mind went right back into like, dude, you feel like this, like you got to do heroin. Calling my friend Cody, like fucking off the sober lit, like just abandoning this life and just going right back into it, like so hardcore. You know, it's like the crazy fucking thing is like I did that. I mean, I didn't have anything. I lived in a sober living. I had a fucking rad job. And at the time I was making like way too much money for someone like in their first year of sobriety. But like I go to like homeless under the bridge and I'm like I call my friend, this kid Jacob, who like numerous times has saved me from like, I lived under the bridge from the downtown music hall, like right across. I think someone told me it's the same under the bridge Anthony Kiedis wrote the Red Hot Chili Peppers song about, but I don't know. But yeah, I end up under that bridge. And like, then I call my friend. I'm like, dude, I want to get sober. And he fucking, again, picks me up. And this is like the craziest fucking thing. He picks me up. He takes me to his house. I get sober. And then the Ego C-Twist, the vape. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there was an Ego pen. It was an Ego pen, a little vape, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like sober a little bit, and I'm in a barber shop getting a haircut, and this guy's like, hey, this shit just came out and it's called vape. He's like, I have like 50,000 units in my garage at my house. Like, can I shoot you like, 10 or 20? You sell them, give me the money, and we just start there. And that turns into me like starting this vape company with my brother, and I'm sober. And then I come back to LA and I start working for this company called Vape Day, which turns into this like bigger thing. Like I like break into the vape industry in the beginning. And I told them at the time, I think I convinced them I did like marketing and advertising, that was my background. And it was weird because when I came back to do this job sober, like I immediately was like, I'm going to get on methadone maintenance, dude. Like, so I'm sober and I make the decision that I'm going to get on methadone maintenance and I start working this job. Like I had like 6 months sober, and this shit is crazy because like I fucking make a huge career out of like this vape industry shit, dude. And I like, dude, like they say, like, don't go full retard. But I'm a huge fan of like what Andy Kaufman did with his characters. You know what I mean? Like Tony Clifton. So like I decided to like, and people joke about it now. And like anyone who knows my story is like they joke about the vape god, but I was like, I'm going to become the fucking vape guru. Like I'll own this and this will be my life. So I like got into character. We worked for this vape store. And so I'm there to do marketing and advertising, but I like start doing my little like connection shit. And I start like reaching out to distributors and like making contact through the company at the time of like, as it's my own. And I'm like ordering stuff for the company, like as it's my own. And I was like doing fairly well with this company. Like the only thing is like I was sober and I got on methadone and I started getting puffy and I'd always be very sweaty, sponge puffy. That was like the only thing where these guys were like, you were like wet all the time. Like, what's with that? You know? And I was just like, I run hot. My family runs hot. That's how we are. And it was that weird thing because I think, there's a guy, Darren, that you guys might know. I can't remember his last name, but he worked there too. He's sober and he was sober at the time. And the other guy, they were sober. So I think they were, you know, they could sense that methadone was going on, you know, and it was just the methadone at first. And I started doing good there. And I had an office. I literally, they gave me an office like the size of this, and I did marketing and advertising, and I had no fucking clue what I was doing. Like I would go on Facebook and do these things, but I was like good at networking. So like I could like network with the companies and like have them shout us out, we shout them out, and I'd buy their products so they'd shout us out. But this one night, like I had this girlfriend, Sarah, that like that time when I got sober, she was kind of around. She was like living with Candy and Christian Stone. Like we both, like I got sober and she got sober and they let her live there and Christian sponsored me.
What was her name?
Sarah. She had like red hair.
I think I remember her.
Yeah. Everyone, like, she didn't talk a lot, but like, I mean, everyone, like Dusty would hit on her and every single guy. Cause like, we were like together, but like, we weren't together. We're like, oh, we're going to take a break and work on our sobriety. And just like every fucking, like all these dudes, like, and we were friends. So it's like, I would just see some dick pics of some guys that we went to meetings with every day. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't believe that guy just sends you a picture of his dick. I can't remember this one guy's glasses that I like don't know his name and he still comes around. I see him, but she fucking comes to the vape store that I'm at. And she fucking just like I was closing, like I would like leave and lock the place up. And she like came over there as everyone was leaving. And she brought like a bunch of drugs. Like she did the whole, whatever she does with guys to get tons of money. She's always like, yeah, they just want me to hang out. You know what I mean? But you're like, whatever. Yeah. Like just go fucking, like whatever, like, that's great that this guy's hanging out with you. Like, if you hang out with him all night and you don't come back with pockets full of drugs, like, I'm going to be mad. But if you do, then fuck it. But, like, she came over, she would just come over with, like, so much, like, a lot of drugs. Like, if it's crack, it's, like, a lot of crack. And she came over to my office and we started smoking, slamming. And we're at the office and there was, like, 3 investors. And the main guys were, like, super square, and we go all the way to the morning, like all the way to the next day. The place didn't open till noon. Like everyone was out of there like at 8 p.m. and like I'm supposed to lock it up, and everyone comes to work and I'm like in the office like smoking crack, like syringes out, and they're just like, dude, like you have to go. Like, and it was really hard they were like, one, we need you to like give us all the distributors' phone numbers that we're dealing with. Cause I had it all. I didn't let, you know what I mean? I'm a good junkie. Like I don't let the fucking them know the connect. I still, you know, like when I did business, I'm like, all right, I'm going to make this whole business work and I'm not going to give you one name. Like you have to keep me. So they like made me this deal. They had yet to open their second location. And they were like, we're just like going to break our side of the second location with the owner, and you can go over there and open the second location with her and work something out with her. So they like fired me and I left, and then months happened in between me going to the second location. So now I don't have income. I'm like the methadone clinic again, and I'm like living at my aunt's house and like, you know, drinking all their, like, I'm like the guy going in the fridge and like fucking like drinking out of their milk carton, and I'm all fucked up and like disgusting and on methadone. And like, I'm just like the total, I'm like the total bummer there. And I was like, I just need to stay here this in-between period till I own this fucking company. Like, this is about to happen. And it just doesn't happen for months.
Don't you know?
Right. This shit doesn't happen for months. And then one day the lady calls me, who becomes like my partner. She's Asian. She was like 23. And I'm like in full blown fucking, like, I'm fucking getting fucking loaded, dude. Like, I'm in it to win it. I'm taking the methadone every day. I'm the first one there. Then I'm going to the Connect, and I fucking go open this vape shop with her called the Factory Vape in Glendale. And like some people would come see me like from the meeting, but most people, it was like a full on shit show. Like,
a 23-year-old girl owned the company.
She was like 23 or 24. It was most of the people that owned the vape in the vape industry were like super young. You know what I mean? Like, she was younger than me, and this was like 5 or 6 years ago. But like, I mean, dude, it's like I'm living with my aunt, and now I legit have this vape store. And like, at this point, I'm not even like partners with her on anything. She's just like, you could come work here, and then you can bring all your information and this, and we'll work out like a deal. You know, and like, you'll get paid this much. And so I go in there and I do it, and I'm living at my aunt's house and going to and from the vape store. And then like, eventually I just stopped leaving. So now I've like set up in the vape store. Like, I'm just there 24/7. I don't leave, you know, like, I'm like using, getting loaded, opening the vape store, like staying awake for days on end. And it just turns into this thing where it's like towards the end, I'm like selling dope out of the vape store. You like walk into my office, there's like some like little like Paisa guy in the corner doing something weird, and a naked girl, and this girl named I want to say her name was like Baby Doll or Baby Girl. Like, it's said on her ID like Baby Girl, and then her last name. And like, she was always there, and I would give her like free drugs, and like, I was like the worst drug dealer. You know, if you ask me for a front, like, all right, front, like, I don't know if I was making money from it, but I was like running the vape store. And then I started this company called Mod Shine, which did really, really good. And then we released a product called Mod Wire, which did even better. And then I did this thing called Mod Wick, which did really well. And I was like, I had, our product was in Rat Vape for distribution for the UK, Indonesia Vapor. Like, the products I did were like worldwide. Like, we were like, I was like kind of killing it. And like, I would get like the booth at like ECC, the Electronic Cigarette Convention. I'd have a booth at like the Vapors exhibit, and like, I was like doing pretty well, you know, like, that was going. I had like an Amazon store going. We had the storefront, and then me and Lynn, the lady, we teamed up. So like, I like let her in on like Mod Shine Mod Sauce to kind of like own just like free reign of the factory vape. And yeah, it was crazy. And like, towards the end, like I said, I was like dealing and everything, and then I started like losing my mind. So like, one of the last things that happened is I was tweaked out, and I would watch the cameras 24/7. I thought the cops would come in. Like, I would see things in the ceiling, and I'd be like, hey, was that there? If any of you guys were following me on Facebook, which you still can like actually go back and see, I would go live and be like, hey, the cops, they're coming in right now. And like, my arms would be down here, and I'd be like slamming dope. So like, anyone that's followed my Facebook, and I haven't erased it, so you can just like go back in it and see like how fucked up I was. And like, I was like 350 pounds for real at that time. Like, that's what I was weighing. And this last time I fucking ran through the whole city and like jumped on a bus and jumped off a bus and ran by the LA River, and like tons of cops came and kicked my ass and like put me in a mental health facility. And that was kind of like the end. I like got, the store got shut down. They like seized my like bank accounts. They like shut down my Amazon account, and I was like done, and I was back homeless now again. Like,
Homeless in
and
LA?
that's kind of like what led, huh?
Homeless in LA.
So I was like, that was the end of the run. It was in Glendale. There was like this disabled veteran named
Guys, hey, I'm sorry.
Sherman.
I got to jump off. But, dude, it was so good to hear you talk, Brandon. Good to see you, my brother.
Hell
Danny,
yeah.
Keith, Charlie.
Yeah, love you,
I got
Reno.
a boogie.
Thanks for hopping on, G. I'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
For sure,
G.
man.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me,
Yeah, later,
boys.
Reno. Thanks,
hell
Reno.
Yeah. I'll see
Bye-bye.
you next time, Reno. So there's this like disabled veteran that would come into my vape shop, and his name was Sherwin. His name was Sherwin. This guy was like pretty awesome. Before it would close, we would go down to Cheetahs, and we'd go and I'd sit there, and sometimes I'd sell the people there drugs and this, whatever. But then when they shut down my vape store, I like moved in with the guy for a couple weeks, and then he would let me use like his Jeep to like sell drugs. And it was like towards the end, I was like blowing it, and I couldn't really keep it going. And then I was like towards the end of me getting loaded, I was like legit trying to commit suicide. I like had the plan. I went to a mental health facility, and they gave me Seroquel and Wellbutrin. And
Wow.
every time that they'd let me out, I would down all of them and like do a shot and like drink. And then I'd like wake up in a mental health facility. And that's kind of like, that was like when I started like going like, this is fucked. Like the worst thing I think was like that I couldn't die. You know what I mean? But I was like too pussy to like jump in front of it. I'd look at like the red line and think about it, and I just couldn't do it. And I was like really lost, and I can't even tell you like where I was staying. And every time that I would like do any meth, I would just lose my mind. And that was kind of like,
Did you know Robbie Carp?
I don't know. That doesn't sound familiar.
He was like that. Sorry, go ahead.
On you, Robbie.
Yeah, no, well, I was like, towards the end, I was like, fuck that, like, just a little bit. Like, I was like, I need to not ever do this again. And then someone would have it, and I'd do a shot, and boom, like, now I just couldn't do that drug anymore. It literally sent me right to the mental health facility. And like, I tried to kill myself a couple of times. And then I like checked into like Salvation Army and did that whole thing. And I got kicked out of Salvation Army, and I had a freaking warrant for my arrest. And I was like at my friend's house, and we were like walking down by this, like, we were in the Burbank Park, and I like went to his house. We were in the Burbank Park, like, I think that's Bob Barker Park. It's like right by Providence, the hospital.
Yeah.
And all these fucking cops just like come from like all around, and they just like arrest me, and no one says anything. And it's like only in Burbank, dude, does that happen? Like they're just like this. Like I must have like been in the city for like hours, like out of the rehab, and like these guys just came from like all over. They like arrested me, and it sucked because like I really thought there was I thought there was no reason for the arrest. You know what I mean? I just was like, that you have nothing on me. Like, I'm gonna get out. And dude, like, it turned out that when I had the vape store, that like before I got arrested that one time and started the mental health facility thing, I like was leaving our store one day, and I like took all this stuff to my aunt's house, and I don't even remember doing it. And the lady that I was business partners with, like, did this insurance fraud claim and said that the place got robbed, and she didn't say it was me. But then when they watched the camera, it was me taking all this stuff out, and I had a warrant out for my arrest because of that. And it was like, dude, because I have possessions, tons of them. I have a robbery. I have a grand theft. I have a strike. You know what I mean? So like this time going into jail like 4 years ago now, or like almost 4 years ago, like, dude, it was just like embezzlement was grand theft, embezzlement. And you know, when you first go, they stack all this charges up on you.
Yeah.
And then it's like I went for months and they dropped it down to like embezzlement, but I don't know how strong their case was. And one day after being in jail for 4.5 months, they're like, we'll give you 16 with half in a split and you can get out today, which I've never heard. Like in all the years I've been going to, like 16 with half in a split.
What's a split?
I was just like, yeah, so it's like 16 with half and then they cut that in half. And
wow.
4 months time served, like legit. I went out in a paper suit that day, you know, and it was like, of course I'm leaving, you know, and like I leave the jail and I like this time I was like done. Like I had tried to kill myself a bunch of times. I fucking ended up in Salvation Army. I stayed sober. I go to jail and I start like, you know, they called me Chaz Bono. Like when I got to jail, that was like, you know, you get the nickname that sticks. Like, cause like I was like super, like, you know, I don't know why I got that nickname. It was like this one guy gave it to me and it followed all the way through the thing. But they'd always be like, hey, Chaz, like, are you gonna work out? Like, let's go work out. You know, they really fucking pushed me to work out, and that's like kind of what got me into like working out. And I started like dropping the weight in jail and like feeling good about myself and fucking like I got out and I just like wanted to stay sober. And it was like, I mean, it was like, it's been like a crazy fucking, like I got out at Christmas, right? So I'm like, I'm out and I went to Salvation Army and now I went to jail and now I'm sober. I think it was like, again, like 9 or 10 months now I've been sober. Or it might have been like 8 or 9 months, somewhere in that realm. And I get out like during Christmas and I go to my aunt's house and I'm like, oh, like dope. Like I'm finally sober. I'll go to my aunt's house at Christmas and I'll just live here and restart my life from here. And like everyone can't wait to help me. And like, so at Christmas, I get out of jail. They give me all this stuff, all this bag, like clothes and all the stuff you kind of need to restart. And my brother fucking for Christmas gives me this giant duffel bag. And like we're like ending Christmas and he's about to leave and he starts packing this duffel bag for me. And I was like, dude, what are you doing? Like, you don't need to pack my clothes. I'm at Aunt Kathleen's. Like, I'm gonna stay here. Like, what are you doing? He's like, no, you're not. Like, where do you want to go? And I'm like, I have nowhere to go. He's like, all right, so like, where do you want me to drop you off? I'm like, dude, like, what do you fucking mean? Like, I have to stay here. I have nowhere to go. And he's like, no, you got to figure it out. And I'm like, and I just thought, I was like, all right, drop me off at Skid Row. Like, drop me off in Skid Row on Christmas. Let's see you do it. Like, you're not gonna, you know? So he puts the bag in, he drives to Skid Row, and it was Christmas. So like, there's a huge line down the street where because they pass out dollars sometimes.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know.
Oh yeah,
so, like,
I've been there.
Some dude's passing out dollars. There's like a line down the block. It looks very Skid Row-ish right now. You know what I mean? Everyone's out to get the dollar, and there's kind of a frenzy. And my brother pulls over to the side. He gets out, takes my bag out, and I don't even get out of the car. I'm like, there's no fucking way he's leaving me. I'm sober. Takes my bag out, opens my door, and he's like, all right, you got to get out because like I got to drive back to Arizona. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, fuck you guys, man. Like, fuck you. Like, but it was weird because I was ready to do this shit. You know what I mean? And it's like he dropped me off and I'm at Skid Row and the guy's giving out the dollars. And of course, someone probably gave me cash and whatever. And I go get in the line at 7 p.m. and I sleep on the floor at San Pedro, like the inflatable thing. They give you one blanket. And I wake up the next day and I go to Share on 5th and Broadway. And like that was like a huge part of my like sobriety at the time, because Share is like, dude, like the 8 months that I had at Share, like the day that I went there, they're like, you should run groups here. Like, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I don't have anything to do. I'm gonna stay here all day. They're like, all right, you should facilitate all the groups here today. And I'm like, all right. So like, I just like facilitate like this codependency group, this bipolar disorder, like dual diagnosis AA group, fucking A group. And I'm like chilling there all day for like weeks. And then I'm chilling there all day. Then I'm standing back like at the line at 7 p.m. and I'm sleeping at the thing and I'm getting up and I'm going to Share. And I'm like trying to like put some shit together. I think I got the Obama phone now and I'm like on my Facebook again and I'm trying to like put something together. And like this one day, this guy's like, hey, do you want to help us move boxes in and out of this shit of suits? I'm like, yeah. And I fucking like, then I like stood outside the U-Haul like some of the days and I got enough money to move into a fucking sober living. I think it was like West Covina.
Yeah.
Like, and then right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cause that's when I start coming back. So now I start like I get my job back with Cosmo on Melrose, sober, and I'm fucking like coming from West Covina to Melrose to work like an 8-hour shift, like 3 times a week. And because I remember Danny, like, okay, so like one time, Danny, you were there when I fucking pissed at the place and I got kicked out. And then it turned out that my and that shit was like the end for me because I'm like, dude, like I'm fucking clean right now, like legit clean, and I just got kicked out of a fucking and dude, no one believed me either. Like I had just asked Mike Crane to be my sponsor, Mike, and he's like, are you sure that you didn't use? I'm like, dude, like I didn't fucking use. So I go back and I'm like, dude, you guys gotta test me again. They send me to like where was it? To Kaiser to go get like a legit test, like that next day. I get it, test clean. They're like, all right, you can move back. And then I'm like, fuck this place. Like that was like the worst that's ever happened. You know what I mean? Like, and I like stay there the rest of the month. And I moved back to Brian calls me and he's like, hey, yeah, he's like, we have a bed at Melrose and Mariposa. And I fucking moved to East Hollywood. And then I kind of like, I hooked up a job working Coachella. So I got like a month of living out there. They like feed you, like you don't got to bring clothes. You know what I mean? So like they put me in a hotel and I did like stagehand work for like a month. And it was like the fucking hardest work I've ever done in my life. It was definitely not glamorous. Like the closest thing I can like it's like doing construction, dude. Like I'm like lifting deck, you know what I mean? It's like 130 degrees, like, and I just knew like I had nothing else really going and I'm like enduring it. And I was like working shows, you know what I mean? And like I'm like just getting by. And I mean, I started working the steps like crazy, you know what I mean? Do you guys talk about this here?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Okay, so like I mean, I got like super into like working the steps and like I kind of veered away from hanging out a lot. You know what I mean? I kind of like got my core guys that I really fucking checked in with, and I did like, you know, I hung out, like sometimes I'd go out to this and that, but I really like concentrated on like doing the steps, being accountable to like a very, you know, select few, and like working and like really like, you know, trying to make my life better. And I mean, it was crazy. Like I got like super, it was so fucked because like finally I'm like, I'm doing production, but I'm like, now I'm not fucking lifting these stages. Like people started teaching me like lighting and how to like do some real stuff. And cause I used to do like prior, I mean, like, right, I was like in the middle of doing kind of like what you do, like wardrobing, costuming stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, do I go full throttle into this or production? I was like choosing, and I was like styling some clients, and I had some really good clients that I was like doing stylist work for, and I was actually making some of the nicest shit. Like I was like designing some of the nicest wardrobe that I've ever in my life done. But it was just like production. Like I just remember being there, and like you could make up to like $2-3 grand a day. Like in event production, they're like, hey, we're gonna pay you this much to be here for 8 hours. And then when that time comes, you can just like walk off, or you could demand like, give me $1,000 and I'll stay 5 more hours. And it was like, dude, it was just like insane. I've never fucking like worked for, earned, and made that kind of money in my life, you know? And then the better that I got at it, and the more, and really what I did is just showed up like half an hour early, last person to leave. Like I worked that job with pride, and I was like, I learned a lot of stuff. And you know what I mean? Like I got high in our, like I was working for Vox Productions. We were doing like everything like party wise in LA, event wise. And then the fucking coronavirus hits. But like one thing that I want to get into that like, I mean, I really sat down and like did the steps. And like I had this really, really good experience with the 4th step. And it was kind of like this, like, and I always like talk about it a lot, but I like wrote down like exactly, you know what I mean? I like the people that I had these problems with, and it's like looking at my part in it and like understanding it was like, to me, it was like cracking the matrix. You know what I mean? Like like when I read it to Mike, I was just like, you know, like you see the pattern and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah.
You're telling me that I've been going through my whole life, and it's just because I interact with people this fucking way that I get this results. You know what I mean? And like equipped with that knowledge, I started like utilizing it in my everyday life. And I'm a smooth talker, shuck and jiver. Like I bullshit with the best of them. You know what I mean? And like some people they're like, I manifest my destiny. I'm like, I like bullshit you just enough to like what I know I could tangibly do. You know what I mean? And that like with the help of YouTube that I can do. And like I get by on that. And before it was like either I delivered or I didn't, but I didn't give a fuck. You know what I mean? So like I just stopped being like, and it's crazy too, because like Danny's like a huge part of my story too. I actually watch how Danny interacts with people. Like he said he'd do something, he did it. He took these commitments, like he was there. Like, dude, I mean, still to this day, like watching him do like feed the streets and all this stuff, like the same with my sponsor. Like he was like super of service and like secretary meetings, and like that's like kind of like what set the tone for me of like the kind of person that I wanted to be, you know? So like when I did the 4th step, like I said, it was like cracking the fucking matrix for me, because like I never had like never in my life have I looked at my part in something. You know what I mean? Like I don't know about you guys, but like even just writing that shit down, like even writing it down. And I know the first time that I like submitted it to Mike or like showed it to him, he's like, like you're fucked up. Like do you not see like this is because I still was like, this person did this person did this. And along the lines of doing my 4th step, I ended up doing this thing called Landmark Forum. So like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. It's like a Tony Robbins extravaganza weekend. It's like I forget, I think it was like thousands of dollars to do it, you know? And I do Landmark Forum, and they do this thing where they like break, and they're like, everyone go fucking call this person that you could, like on this break, we are going to have a breakthrough. This room is going to come back. Psych. I need everyone to call that one person that they just like have the biggest problem with, blah, blah, blah. And so mine was my mom. My mom, like, legit was abusive. You know what I mean? And my mother, you know, had made attempts to apologize for that, and I wasn't able to like accept it from her. And you know, a huge break, like with Landmark Forum and the program Alcoholics Anonymous. What happened is I went out there and I jump on my phone and I'm like, hey mom, like I love you. Like I know you did the best you could with the tools you had. And I just want to let you know, I haven't said this to her in forever. It's probably been my whole life. I was so mad this lady abused me. You know what I mean? And like, and I said it, and I didn't fucking mean it, right? But with the tools that I gained from the program, is one, I remember going back in there and just being like, I like loving people. You know what I mean? I was like, at the core of me, I do not like hating this woman I don't like that. And so it just opened that line of communication. And it's like I work the steps and boom, like I get to the 9th step and like I actually come to this realization that like, she really did the best she could with the tools she had. And I started thinking back about it and I'm like, dude, in 3rd grade, a teacher fucking slapped me. I was fucking out of control. You know what I mean? Like maybe she went a little too far, but I was definitely one of those kids that, I mean, I'm sure like me having kids now, like, yeah, I probably would have knocked me out. You know what I mean? Like, luckily I went through what I went through and like, I would never fucking put hands on a kid and just even the program and everything, I get to be this like amazing father and my kid gets to have a grandmother and then later on, like I make amends with my, like the me not being able to talk to my dad and this guy legit probably like, I mean, he blocked me on everything, would not answer my phone call. And like 2 years ago, like I get to have him back in my life. I have a sister. I have a brother who I've known my whole life. My father had a sister or a daughter, and I have a sister, and I've met her like 4 times now. You know what I mean? Like it's insane, like what the steps have done for my life. It's pure insanity. Like I was like a gutter type dope fiend, like under the bridge, mental hospital, fucking jail. Like I should have probably got like more time for what just happened. And like, I mean, dude, I just like recently like opened like a creative space in Walnut, California, like where we built like a sound stage and like I do these things now, and it's like pure insanity, like where my life is today because of like Alcoholics Anonymous and like the steps, you know what I mean? Like I do this new thing on noon on Fridays on Clubhouse. It's like sobriety for creatives. And, like not people in there. It's a sobriety clubhouse and they don't all do Alcoholics Anonymous. So people do all these different things like, NA, meditation, like I think the whole like microdosing thing has gone through the sobriety clubhouse as like, is this sober or not? But like, I mean, when I know that microdosing is not for me, but like I'm a huge believer in like harm reduction. You know what I mean? And like, so some of the people that I've seen that like, do it go from being the same, like I've watched it do it, went from under the bridge, gutter hypes to like somewhat, I guess, of a normal life. I feel like everyone comes around to like the program of some form or another. Like I have one of my friends he's like resistant to the program, but the last couple of years he asks me like, how do you do this? And like I took him through the 4th step. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I wasn't like, this is Alcoholics Anonymous, but I'm like, write these names down, see your part in it, like write the situation. And I just heard him speaking last week and he's like talking program and it worked. You know what I mean? He's like, now I see my part in things. And, and I'm like, this is like, it's fucking rad too. Cause like, in sobriety clubhouse on the thing, I'm not saying that I say I'm brand alcoholic, but I'm not pushing you 100% on AA or trying to sell you on it. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is my story. I actually got a sponsee from it. You know what I mean? So it's like,
one of the things, so the place that I work at, the treatment center, it's like, we're not 12-step, like our whole thing is like, we're not 12-step based. You don't got to go to meetings. You don't got to get a sponsor. Like, it's encouraged that you get some type of program, whether it's meditation, some type of spiritual belief, but the cool thing that happens in that, and I'm sure like you've seen something similar happen where it's like, people will come up to me and they'll be like, hey, why are you happy? Like, what the fuck? Like, like you're coming into work at 6 a.m. Like you have to like, whatever, not as much anymore, but like you're asking motherfuckers to pee in a cup for you and fucking like, like watching us do this. Like, and you got a smile on your face, and they're like, why? Like how? And I'm like, oh, I do this thing. Like, I'm not kind of whatever, like it's called AA, and it like fucking, something magical fucking happens when I do it. And then all of a sudden they're like, well, maybe I should give that a shot. It's kind of cool. Like it's trippy where like when you're not, it's like the whole attraction rather than promotion piece where it, like you don't, and who's like, I don't know what the fuck is going to work for somebody else. I know what works for me,
Right. Yeah. That, and the thing too is like, I do these rooms in there now too. So people say on Clubhouse that I've helped curate a safe space. So they've asked me to come do other rooms on mental health, and I mean, it's the same thing. It's like I go into those rooms and I'm not like, hey, I'm Brandon, I'm alcoholic. I just straight up am sharing like my experience, my strength, my hope. You know what I mean? I'm not aligning it, but I talk about too. Like, hey, I fucking tried to commit suicide. And I know what it like. I always say like, hey, this is a place where I can come up on stage, on the Clubhouse stage, and say like, hey, I feel like killing myself today, and I'm like, and you guys will understand, and where you in return can come up on stage and do that, and you could leave that shit here. You know what I mean? And it's like that shit is like, I mean, dude, it's literally. I feel like I've found my way to kind of be like a Danny or a Mike. I just wasn't that in the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, because I don't know why. You know what I mean? I just this time I wasn't that guy. I guess like not a lot of people ever asked me to share. At this last time when I got sober, and where I really only shared was my men's meeting. You know what I mean? So like I share like twice a week now in our men's meeting because of Zoom. We do it on Zoom. But I mean, even that, like today I just got asked to do some like sobriety TV show, like to be on TV. And it's weird, like, cause I, like I said, nobody really wanted, I think maybe, maybe I'm wrong, and maybe this is me being crazy, but like, I think just cause of like my track record in Alcoholics Anonymous in LA, that people just didn't want to hear what I had to say anymore. You know what I mean? Like it was just different, like in Clubhouse, maybe I just have like a different whole get down that makes a safer place there. I think it's like alcohol.
How do you find the sober room on Clubhouse, Brandon?
So you just go in to Clubhouse, and then if you go under explore, it's going to say people, and then it says clubs, and then you write sober in, and you'll see the sobriety Clubhouse.
Are you on there, Keith?
Yeah, but I don't really understand it,
I don't really either.
Yeah, see, like,
go to what did you say, Brandon? Look, I'm here.
Right, so you go right there. Now click where it says search.
Mm-hmm.
Like click the actual find people and clubs. Then it says people and it says clubs.
Mm-hmm.
And then just type in the word sober.
Oh, okay.
What's your name on there?
Hold on. I think just Keith Wager. Yeah.
Yours is the picture of what's his name?
Ted Cruz
of
the
cornrows.
Yeah.
All right. So there. Now I'm following you. It'll alert you every time. And then on Fridays at noon, I do like sobriety for creative. I just posted a flyer on my Instagram for it. I'm going like balls to the wall on it. I actually had Mark Hanna design, the guy who does Powerful Truth Angels. I reached out to him to fucking make me a flyer.
Oh, I saw that, dude. It's so good.
Right?
It's so good. Yeah, it's I'm gonna hop on this Friday. I'm gonna check it out.
Hey,
yeah, dude.
Brandon, have you ever seen a ghost?
Yeah, we got 2 questions that we always ask.
I don't think I've ever seen a ghost.
Have you ever smoked PCP?
Once. That's a fucking very interesting story. But like, okay,
it's always interesting.
You guys have probably seen this fucking girl. So there's like a girl that hangs out in like downtown LA on like San Pedro, and she has like 18 tattooed on her face.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When she went around, so it was like a happy 2018, and it was like her with the 18, you know, and then it was the 20 right there, you know. There was like a pic of her. There was
So listen, so she is the only person ever that I've ever met that sold Sherm sticks, right? And like I was like, you know, I want to do it. Anyway, so she's like, hey, do you want to buy a Sherm stick? And I was like, yeah, I've never done one. She's like, well, hey, like, let's come back to my place. So I remember like going into her apartment and no one was there. And we smoked Sherm, and like, nothing happened between us, but I had taken off all my clothes for some reason. And then I like went to like walk out of a room, and I think I like walked out like on a giant.
Oh yeah. Moonwalking.
Like I was stepping out. And when I walked out, there was kids, and I was naked, and there was a brother, and they were like the LA Mexican family, and the guy's like, what the fuck, like coming to get me, and I just out the window and pants only. So that's like my only experience of like Sherm, and I've never done it again. And I remember too, because so when we were doing it, I'd never seen anyone make Sherm either, and she sold it, and like she had a vial of it, and she was like, we were smoking the one that she made, and she's like dipping it in and like turning it around and like putting the thing down and like grabbing this foil and like rolling it in, and it just was like so. Like I remember the whole scenario, and it was like way worse, you know. And the guys are just like, "What the fuck, like you fucking motherfucker!" And I think I probably like got hit like once or twice getting out of there.
Shit, dude. I think we're good.
That's
right?
The only time.
Danny?
I think we're good. Yeah,
dude. Thanks so much, Brandon. It's fucking great, man. That was great.
You want to plug anything? You want anything you want to shout out?
I mean, so like, I got the Sobriety Clubhouse Friday at noon.
Word. I'm gonna pull up. I'm gonna be on there.
Obviously, we have our salon at Salon Adair, which like I feel like we're in a good place here now. But I did just open in Walnut, California. It's like a 1,500 square foot like creative space, and we just actually purchased the space right next to it, so we're gonna expand it. But we just did like Cravon LeBlanc from the Philadelphia Eagles music video. We're shooting music video. We're shooting some beauty stuff. So we're just like creating content there for whoever.
Walnut by West Covina?
Yeah.
I used to live there.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's like what I'm wrapping a lot of my head and time around is just like, I'm like, you know, part of the creative process now in this new way. And I got like my production background. So anyone that needs to like film some stuff, you know, that has like some sort of budget, like I've been able to work with a lot of people's budgets and get some stuff done for them, but I have that in Walnut. So
all right, cool.
Young Gods at Young Gods LA on Instagram.
Well, we'll tag you. Could you email me some photos of yourself?
Yeah, I have this really good one of me in a wheelchair.
Dude, the best photo. It may be the best fucking before and after that we've ever seen. That wheelchair photo is, dude. How much do you weigh right there?
Yeah, no, 350 easy. Maybe a little more. I have a couple of ones where I was just like,
he looks. Hey,
that's crazy.
That motherfucker looks like a. What's that woman's name? The one that like taps around, like paddles around Hollywood with the big old titties that can't get out of her wheelchair. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
That's who that was Brandon, like the male version of that.
Dude, my fucking ankles were like this big.
Dude.
That's crazy.
You know what? It's a fucking miracle that you're here. And dude, I'm so stoked we got you on. And it's like you've come such a long way from when I saw you pop back up. Because we met like partying, when we used to wear fedora hats and shit all the time. And we thought that was fly, and like
all right, thank you guys.
Yeah. Word. Well, dude, thank you so much. Love you, Brandon. Yeah.
Love you guys. Thank you. Thanks, Charlie, for like doing this too. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, thanks for coming on.
All right.
Yeah, good to see you, Charlie.
Yeah, man.
All right, talk to you guys soon.
All right.
Thanks for listening to It's All Bad. I'm here with Danny, Mike, and Charlie. Follow us on Patreon. Follow us on Instagram.
Yep, like and subscribe.
Send us some money.
Please give us money.
Please send me.
Please.
I need $26,300. Someone, if you could send me that, I will send you a crate of bananas.
Amazing.
Mike needs more hand sanitizer. Danny needs money for clams, and Charlie needs money for suntan lotion.
I can make my own sanitizer. I just need the Everclear, and that's why I'm 26.3.
Mike, how much weight have you lost?
What's that?
How much weight have you lost?
I have lost 34 pounds.
That is wild. And that's just not even leaving the house, right?
That's in
the neighborhood, right? Or something?
Yeah, I'll walk around the neighborhood, but mostly I have an exercise bike, but it's diet. Yeah. Keith, they always say your workout starts in the kitchen.
Yeah, right. Get out of here. Is that really a saying?
I don't know, but somebody says something that stupid. I don't know.
It sounds great. But hey, Mike lost 4 pounds in the beard alone. Shit, that motherfucker waited.
No, it's interesting. Yeah, but I don't know. It's good. Whatever. Listen, it helped me live a little bit healthier. Not eating out all the goddamn time and just so.
It's weird, but not having 37 beers and a fucking cheeseburger at midnight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. Exactly.
The patio at Speranza, right, Mike?
If you're still listening, we got some exciting news. We're going back to in person. We're going to be dropping bi-weekly episodes. We got another run of t-shirts coming. The Russian Danny, I forgot what my own shirt says. The Russian Danny Hollywood Drug Dealer shirts. We got some lighters coming in your way, and some other new stuff. We got some animation stuff being worked on, some stuff coming down the pipeline. And thank you guys so much for sticking with us. It's been a funny, funny is a bad choice of words. It's been a rough year, for everybody. And it's a miracle. It's been a funny year.
What's been going on?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, but thanks for sticking it through, guys. And we love you all, and we're excited to see what the future holds for It's All Bad.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Later.
That was good.
Beautiful.